Hello, people, and welcome back to the Sleepy Science Lab. Tonight, we're drifting toward the tallest places on Earth, where the air grows thin, the world grows quiet, and the stars feel almost close enough to reach. Mountains rise like frozen waves of stone, each one carrying the memory of our planet's restless heart. Born from slow continental collisions, sculpted by ice, etched by wind, and crowned with ancient snow, mountains are a window into deep time. They look still and eternal, yet they breathe through erosion and renewal. Tonight we'll wander through that silent, towering world, exploring how mountains form, how they shape the weather, and how they influence every living thing that climbs their slopes. If these calm journeys help you rest, feel free to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps other sleepy travelers find their way here one quiet night at a time. For now, take a slow breath, let your eyes grow heavy, and picture the mountains rising gently in your mind. Let's begin. Mountains are born when continents collide. Far beneath your feet, tectonic plates drift at the pace your fingernails grow. But when they meet, their power is unstoppable. Over millions of years, these massive slabs of crust push and fold, lifting what was once a flat seabed into ridges, peaks, and towering summits. This deep, molten-driven movement is slow but relentless. The Himalayas formed when the Indian plate pushed into Asia, crushing rock upward into the highest mountains on Earth. Every peak in that range holds the memory of that impact, a great stone wave frozen mid-rise. To look at a mountain is to witness the moment continents refused to part, turning pressure into height and time into beauty. And sometimes, mountains rise faster than they can wear away. We tend to think erosion always wins, carving valleys and smoothing ridges, but in some regions the Earth pushes upward more quickly than rain, ice, and wind can tear it down. In the Andes, parts of the range still rise a few millimeters a year. The crust beneath them thickens like a slow breath upward. Rivers trying to carve their paths through the rising rock become trapped in narrow gorges, always falling behind. This balancing act between uplift and erosion shapes the dramatic landscapes we see today, a long-running race between the forces that build and the forces that break. Every growing mountain is a quiet triumph of deep earth over sky. But mountains aren't just rising, they're also traveling. Though they look permanent, entire mountain ranges drift across the planet as the continents move. The Appalachians were formed near the equator and gradually migrated thousands of miles north. The Alps, too, were carried across shifting crust like wrinkles on moving skin. Even volcanic mountains can wander when the hot spots beneath them shift. Within their layers, they store a traveler's history. Fossils of tropical seas hidden on icy peaks, hints of past worlds long vanished. You may not notice this motion in a single lifetime, but the continents are always on the move, and mountains move with them, crossing silent oceans of stone. The Himalayas continue to grow taller each year. The Indian plate hasn't stopped pushing against Asia even after 50 million years. That slow northward pressure raises the Tibetan Plateau and folds the crust into soaring ridges. Everest and K2 gain tiny increments in height each year, roughly the width of a fingernail. Earthquakes ripple through the region as strain builds, proof that the collision is still underway. As the land rises, glaciers carve new paths across the peaks, feeding rivers that sustain billions below. These giants are not ancient monuments, but living formations, always shifting, always growing. Each small rise is another breath from deep inside the planet. The Andes were once the floor of an ancient ocean. Long before they crowned South America, their rocks rested underwater, made of sand, coral, and shell, that slowly hardened into limestone, sandstone, and shale. When the Nazca Plate dipped beneath the continent, those old seabed layers were crushed and lifted into jagged peaks. Fossil seashells still lie scattered high in the mountains, reminders of their underwater past. Volcanoes erupted along the rising chain, adding fresh layers of rock to the growing range. Even now, deep earthquakes and smoking summits reveal that the boundary beneath them is still alive, still drawing the old ocean floor downward as the mountains rise above.
To stand on an Andean summit is to stand on what was once the floor of a vanished sea. Those towering peaks were born from rock that slept beneath ancient waves, lifted skyward by the slow, unyielding motion of the earth. The Appalachian Mountains hold a similar secret, though time has softened their story. Today they appear as gentle, forested hills rolling across the eastern United States, but long ago they stood as tall as the modern Himalayas. Over 400 million years ago, when ancient continents collided, the crust folded into massive peaks that scraped the sky. Wind, rain, and ice eventually wore them down, leaving behind the deep roots of that mighty range. Beneath the quiet trees lie rocks twisted, heated, and pressed by forces nearly beyond imagination. The rounded summits we see now are like the old bones of a fallen titan. Though weathered, the Appalachians still echo Earth's restlessness, a reminder of the endless cycle of uplift and erosion that shapes every landscape. The Alps offer a very different story. Though they feel timeless, they are geologically young, only about 40 million years old. Compared to the ancient Appalachians or the worn mountains of Greenland, the Alps are still in their adolescence. Their sharp ridges, steep cliffs, and shining snow owe their dramatic beauty to this youth. Glaciers continue carving their paths, sculpting valleys and peaks into bold, graceful shapes. Because the rocks are fresh and uplift still continues, landslides and avalanches remain common, subtle indicators of a range still settling into itself. Within their layers of limestone and granite lie fossils of seashells from the long-lost Tethys Ocean. The Alps stand at a special moment in Earth's story, poised between birth and decay, high enough to touch the weather, yet young enough to remember the sea. The Rocky Mountains tell an even stranger tale, forming far from where most people would expect. Unlike typical ranges born at the edges of continents, the Rockies rose nearly 1,000 miles inland. Around 70 million years ago, an oceanic plate slid beneath North America at an unusually shallow angle. Instead of plunging deep, it pushed force far inland, buckling the crust and raising mountains where flat plains once stretched. Rivers later carved deep valleys through the uplifted rock, revealing layers of ancient seabed and volcanic ash. Even today, geologists study the Rockies to understand how such distant forces built such a vast range. They're a reminder that the planet's movements can reach far beyond the edges we see, quietly reshaping landscapes in ways only deep time can reveal. Far to the south, Antarctica hides mountains even taller than the Alps. Beneath its miles-thick ice sheet lies the Gamburtsev Range, a secret world of peaks stretching more than 700 miles across the frozen interior. These hidden summits match the height of the Alps, yet no human has ever seen them directly. Their rocks remain locked inside ice that has endured for over 30 million years. Their origins are still mysterious, though some clues suggest they formed from the collision of ancient continents long before the land froze. These buried mountains guide the flow of ice above them, carving unseen valleys and feeding subglacial lakes. They remind us that even on the quietest, coldest continent, entire landscapes sleep in silence, untouched by sky or wind for tens of millions of years. And then there are the mountains that lie beneath the sea, taller than Everest and stretching farther than any range on land. Deep below the ocean's surface, where sunlight never reaches, the mid-ocean ridge rises from the mantle. Here, molten rock wells upward, forming submarine peaks that from base to summit exceed Everest's height. This underwater chain wraps around the planet for more than 40,000 miles, like a continuous seam in Earth's crust. Volcanic vents line its slopes, releasing mineral-rich heat that sustains strange, thriving ecosystems in total darkness. Towering cliffs, steep ridges, and hidden valleys make up a world few will ever witness, yet it covers more area than all land mountains combined. When explorers first mapped it with sonar, they discovered that the greatest mountain range on Earth had been concealed beneath the waves all along, a realm of fire and water, endlessly alive in the deep.
Though hidden far beneath the waves, the mid-ocean ridge still covers nearly a quarter of Earth's entire surface. Along its crest, black smokers release superheated, mineral-rich water, creating glowing oases of strange life in the darkness. Creatures that have never seen sunlight thrive here, living not on photosynthesis, but on pure chemistry. The ridge is not a single mountain, but an entire system, the beating tectonic heart of our restless planet, always building, always renewing itself beneath the sea. Some mountains aren't submerged beneath oceans, but buried under ice sheets miles thick. Antarctica and Greenland hide ancient landscapes frozen in perfect silence. Radar scans reveal rugged mountain ranges, deep valleys, and broad plateaus that have not touched open air in millions of years. These hidden worlds were carved long before the ice ever formed, shaped by rivers and glaciers that disappeared ages ago. The immense weight of the ice presses the land downward, creating deep basins where subglacial lakes still shimmer in total darkness. Scientists have discovered entire underground watersheds winding around unseen peaks. The ice sheet preserves them like a time capsule, a ghostly map of a world that once breathed freely. If these ice sheets ever melted, the continents beneath them would be transformed, exposing mountains older than human memory, preserved under a white tomb of unimaginable pressure and time. Not all mountains need millions of years to grow. Some can rise in a single human lifetime. Volcanoes are Earth's fast builders, capable of stacking ash and lava layer by layer until a new peak stands where none existed before. Paricutin, a volcano in Mexico, appeared suddenly in a farmer's cornfield in 1943. Within days, smoke and cinders filled the air. Within a year, it had grown more than 1,000 feet high. By the time it went dormant, 9 years later, it stood taller than the Empire State Building. Entire villages vanished beneath its ash, yet the landscape became a living record of creation. Watching a volcano rise is witnessing mountain building in real time, a reminder that Earth's power is not always slow or quiet. But not every volcano climbs sharply into the sky. Some spread outward instead, creating mountains wider than entire countries. These are shield volcanoes, like those in Iceland and Hawaii. Named for their wide, gentle slopes, they grow through slow, steady flows of lava that travel across vast distances before cooling. Mauna Loa in Hawaii is one of the largest single structures on Earth, stretching nearly 75 miles from end to end. Measured from its base on the ocean floor to its summit, it is taller than Mount Everest. These flowing rivers of fire eventually cool into smooth black rock, forming new plains and entire islands over time. Shield volcanoes remind us that not all mountains are born through violence. Some rise gradually, almost peacefully, as molten earth becomes solid ground. And beyond our world stands the tallest volcano in the solar system. On Mars, Olympus Mons towers over the red planet, so enormous it could swallow the entire state of Arizona. Its slopes stretch for hundreds of miles, and its summit rises more than twice the height of Everest. It is so vast that its shape conforms to the curvature of Mars itself. Scientists believe it grew so large because Mars lacks shifting tectonic plates. With no movement beneath it, eruptions built upon the same spot again and again for millions of years. The result is a gentle, sprawling giant, edged with cliffs taller than anything on Earth. From orbit, Olympus Mons dominates the Martian horizon, a frozen monument to ancient fire. It's a reminder that the forces shaping mountains extend far beyond Earth, obeying the same cosmic rules across the solar system. Some mountains aren't formed from lava, collisions, or ice. Some are built from life itself. In certain tropical regions, what look like towering mountain ranges were once coral reefs beneath warm, shallow seas. Over millions of years, layers of coral and shells hardened into thick limestone. When the land rose through tectonic uplift, these ancient reefs became mountains. The island of New Guinea holds entire ranges made almost entirely of fossilized coral, with ancient sea life trapped in cliffs thousands of feet above the modern ocean. Rain and rivers carve these limestone giants into caverns, sinkholes, and razor-sharp spires, forming surreal landscapes known as karst terrain. In these places, mountains are not forged in fire or born of continents colliding. They rise from the patient work of countless tiny organisms, each grain of stone once part of something alive. And beyond Earth, some worlds have mountains made not of rock or coral, but of frozen water.
But Earth isn't the only place where mountains rise. Far beyond our warm blue planet, out in the icy outskirts of the solar system, entire ranges form from something far stranger than stone. On moons like Jupiter's Europa and Saturn's Enceladus, the surface is a frozen ocean stiffened into a crust of ice tough as granite. Yet it behaves like rock all the same. Tectonic forces stretch, crack, and jolt the frozen shell, pushing blocks the size of cities into ridges and peaks thousands of feet high. Even farther out, on Pluto, nitrogen and methane frost act like sluggish rock, flowing into glaciers that drift across the dwarf planet's face. These ice mountains catch the sunlight in eerie shades of blue and white, glittering like shattered glass scattered across alien worlds. Scientists suspect that beneath some of these frozen skins, liquid water may still slosh in hidden oceans kept warm by internal heat. If true, those icy peaks might be the silent guardians of places where life could still be hiding. They remind us that mountain building isn't limited to Earth's warmth. Even in cosmic cold, the forces shaping worlds never sleep. And speaking of worlds still being sculpted, some mountains rise right inside living lava fields. In volcanic regions like Iceland and Hawaii, small, steep cones emerge from explosions of molten rock. These cinder cones form in moments of violent eruption when glowing fragments burst skyward and rain back down, cooling into piles of jagged red and black rock. Some remain only a few hundred feet high, others tower for thousands, each one a newborn summit standing in a landscape still steaming with heat. Places like Iceland's Holuround field sprout these cones year after year, each fresh peak a reminder that the planet breathes fire beneath its crust. From fire, we shift to color. Because the face of a mountain is more than scenery, it's a storybook. Every hue etched across a slope reveals something about the minerals that shaped it. Rust-red cliffs betray oxidized iron. Greenish tints hint at copper.
pale limestone ridges point to ancient seafloors long since lifted into the sky. Dark volcanic stone speaks of deep magma. In deserts, mountains glow pink, purple, or ochre, layered by sediments older than memory. Even snow can whisper of distant places, carrying dust from volcanoes or deserts halfway around the planet. To geologists, a mountain's colors are a language. To the rest of us, they're simply breathtaking. Yet some mountains carry stories far older than any color on their surface. Deep in the oldest continental cores lie rocks older than the continents themselves, dating back more than 4 billion years. The Acasta gneiss of northern Canada is one such relic, formed when Earth's crust was still red-hot from its violent beginning. These rocks have outlived collisions, oceans, ice ages, and entire lost landscapes. Holding one is like shaking hands with the dawn of Earth. And then there's the oldest mountain range we know of, the Barberton Greenstone Belt of South Africa. Once a rugged landscape of volcanoes and ocean floors, it has been worn down over 3 billion years into low, rounded hills. But within those gentle slopes lie microscopic fossils of some of Earth's earliest life. These mountains watched the sky fill with volcanic haze, saw the oceans turn green with iron, and stood through the rise of oxygen itself. Though their peaks have crumbled into dust, their history hums through every twisted layer of rock, a soft echo from a world still learning what life could be. Finally, mountains do more than shape history. They shape the atmosphere around them. When moist air sweeps up a mountain's slope, it cools, condenses, and forms clouds that cling to the summits like crowns. On the far side, the air warms and dries, creating stark rain shadows where deserts may form. The Andes help sculpt the Atacama Desert. The Himalayas shield the plains of India from icy Siberian winds. Even a single peak can spin up its own storms, bending wind and summoning rain simply by standing tall. Mountains don't just rise from the world, they rewrite it.
Far from the warmth of Earth, out in the frozen outskirts of the solar system, mountains rise from something stranger than stone. On Europa and Enceladus, the towering peaks are sculpted from ice so dense it's harder than granite. Their surfaces are frozen oceans cracked open by deep tectonic stresses. Massive slabs of ice clash and heave upward, creating ridges and jagged summits as tall as earthly mountain ranges. Even Pluto joins the story. There, nitrogen and methane act like rock in the cold, forming slow, creeping glaciers that shine in the faint sunlight. These icy mountains gleam blue and glassy, fractured like frozen, stained glass. Some scientists suspect liquid water still moves beneath them, warmed by the moon's internal heat. If that's true, those hidden oceans might shelter life. These frozen peaks remind us that even in the coldest cosmic shadows, mountains continue to mold worlds in ways we never expected. From ice to fire, the story shifts dramatically. Some mountains grow from the heart of active lava fields. In volcanic regions like Iceland and Hawaii, small, steep cones rise from blankets of still cooling lava. These cinder cones form when molten rock erupts violently from a single vent, spraying glowing fragments into the air. As the fragments fall, they cool instantly, piling up into sharp, dark mounds. Some are only a few hundred feet tall, while others grow into 1,000-foot giants dotted with red and black ash. In Iceland's Holuhraun field, new cones can emerge within years, glowing red against the surrounding basalt. The air smells of sulfur, and the ground vibrates with the pulse of Earth's interior. These mountains are young, raw, and fiercely alive.
They stand as fresh scars written across the planet's crust, proof that Earth still builds new summits right beneath our feet. But mountains don't only tell their stories through shape. Their colors reveal entire histories. Every shade on a mountainside reflects the minerals and forces that forged it. Rust-red slopes hint at oxidized iron. Greenish streaks point to copper. Pale limestone cliffs whisper of ancient oceans long vanished, while black volcanic rock marks the violent birth of land from molten depths. In desert regions, mountains glow pink, violet, and ochre, painted by layers of sediment stacked over millions of years. At sunrise and dusk, some peaks shift colors entirely, turning golden in the morning and deep blue at night. Even the snow atop them can hold stories, tinted by drifting volcanic ash or dust from faraway deserts. To geologists, these colors are a language of time. To the rest of us, they are the Earth's memories written in stone. Buried within some mountains lie rocks older than the continents themselves. In the world's oldest ranges, deep crystalline layers date back more than 4 billion years to a time when Earth's crust was still cooling from its fiery birth. The Acasta gneiss in northern Canada is one such relic. These rocks survived collisions, shifting continents, and endless erosion. They are fragments of Earth's first crust, altered by heat and pressure, yet never erased. Holding a piece of this rock is like holding a fossil from before life existed, a relic from the planet's earliest days. South Africa's Barberton Greenstone Belt holds what remains of Earth's first true mountain range, now worn down almost beyond recognition. Once towering peaks have been eroded into low, rounded hills over more than 3 billion years. Layered within the stone are microscopic fossils of ancient bacteria preserved from a time when the skies were choked with volcanic haze and the oceans were green with dissolved iron. These mountains witnessed the birth of continents and the arrival of oxygen. Though their summits crumbled long ago, their story remains etched into every grain of rock. They are whispers from a world still learning how to live. Mountains don't just endure the atmosphere, they help shape it. When moist air rises along a mountainside, it cools and condenses, forming clouds that cling to the summit. As the air flows down the far side, it warms and dries, creating vast rain shadows. The Andes help create the Atacama Desert, the driest place on Earth. The Himalayas block Siberian winds, warming the plains of India and Pakistan. Even isolated peaks can stir the air, summoning sudden storms or generating local winds that circle their slopes. Watch a mountain on a breezy day, and you might see clouds appear and vanish in seconds. These delicate wisps, called orographic clouds, form as moisture condenses along the rising air. They drift like scarves around the slopes, giving mountains the illusion of breathing in and out mist. To hikers, they bring sudden fog and surprise showers. To distant viewers, they make the peaks look alive. Some mountains even wear permanent sky ornaments. When steady winds sweep over a tall peak, they can create smooth, lens-shaped clouds that hover motionless above the summit. These lenticular clouds look like glowing flying saucers stacked in layers. Pilots avoid them because, despite their calm appearance, the air below churns with brutal turbulence. In places like Mount Fuji, Mount Rainier, and the Andes, these clouds often glow with brilliant colors at sunrise and sunset. They're a reminder that invisible waves of air are constantly rolling across the sky. At dawn, mountains perform another quiet miracle. The first sunlight can cast a triangular shadow stretching for hundreds of miles, even if the mountain itself is irregular. On giants like Everest and Kilimanjaro, climbers watch this perfect pyramid of darkness extend across the clouds and plains below. For a few minutes, time feels suspended, as the mountain paints its silhouette across the morning air. Then the sun climbs higher, and the shadow dissolves into daylight. Sometimes mountains even create rainbows that belong only to you. When the sun is behind you and mist hangs below, your shadow may appear surrounded by a circular glowing halo. This phenomenon, called a glory or Brockenspector, follows your every movement. To climbers, it feels almost spiritual, as if the mountain itself is reflecting your presence in a ring of shifting colors. Higher altitudes bring strange realities. As you climb, the oxygen level drops and the atmosphere thins, exposing you to more cosmic radiation. At the top of Everest, radiation levels are about twice as high as at sea level. Pilots and mountaineers receive higher doses simply by spending time above the clouds. Yet along with this harshness comes unmatched clarity. The stars blaze brighter, and the sky becomes a deeper, richer blue. Mountains don't just shape the weather around them, their influence reaches across continents. When air rises over a major range, cools and sinks again, it sets off pressure differences that ripple outward, steering storms and altering jet streams. The Himalayas help drive the Asian monsoon. The Andes guide the atmospheric rivers flowing across South America. Even smaller ranges leave fingerprints on global wind patterns.
High above the surface, mountains send ripples of air into the upper atmosphere, waves that can circle the entire planet. Satellites can detect these atmospheric pulses from orbit. Each mountain becomes like a musical note in Earth's grand symphony of wind, helping tune the movement of air that shapes weather and climate. The peaks may look still, but they help conduct the rhythm of the sky. Mountain winds also carry tiny particles from distant corners of the world. Every gust is a story in motion. Dust lifted from the Sahara can drift thousands of miles, crossing oceans before settling onto the snowy ridges of the Alps or the Andes. These grains hold minerals, pollen, and even microscopic life. When they fall on ice, they darken the surface just enough to speed melting. Volcanic ash, sea salt, and smoke join this global circulation, swirling endlessly through the sky. Scientists can read these layers in mountain snow like pages of a diary, revealing centuries of storms, droughts, and shifting winds. Even the most remote peaks are never empty. The air carries whispers from deserts, oceans, and fires across Earth, reminding us that every breeze is part of a connected planetary story. At high altitudes, snowflakes form in completely different ways. In the cold, thin mountain air, crystals grow into delicate shapes that rarely appear at lower elevations. The temperature, humidity, and speed at which droplets freeze create needles, columns, and hollow prisms instead of the familiar branching stars. Some fall as perfect hexagonal plates that sparkle like bits of glass. As they drift downward, passing through layers of varying temperature, their shapes evolve, adding tiny ridges and facets. By the time they reach the ground, each flake is a miniature sculpture shaped by the sky itself. Together, these crystals form the snow that blankets the mountains in a tapestry of tiny miracles. Glaciers add another layer to the mountain story. Though they seem frozen and unmoving, many are alive with motion. Enormous pressure deep within the ice causes it to flow like thick syrup. In places like Alaska and Greenland, glaciers can surge forward several feet a day. Some have advanced miles in a single year, moving faster than a person strolling below. This rapid motion is powered by meltwater beneath the glacier, acting like lubricant that lets the entire ice mass slide forward. As it moves, it grinds rock into fine powder and carves deep valleys. If you listen closely, you can hear the glacier creak and sigh as cracks open and close, like the slow breathing of a sleeping giant. A glacier is a frozen river, always shifting, always reshaping the mountains it touches. But not all glaciers move. In the coldest places on Earth, some are locked in place so firmly that they haven't shifted in thousands of years. These ancient ice bodies sit in Antarctica and the highest Himalayas, frozen solid and brittle as stone. Over centuries, layers of snow compress into dense ice,
trapping tiny bubbles of ancient air. Scientists drill deep into these glaciers to extract ice cores, reading their compressed layers like a frozen archive of Earth's atmosphere. They reveal volcanic eruptions, past climates, and even the rise and fall of civilizations that depended on distant weather patterns. These glaciers appear lifeless, yet each bubble of air holds a whisper from ages long gone, preserved in perfect silence until uncovered by human curiosity. As glaciers advance and retreat over millennia, they carve U-shaped valleys that outlast entire civilizations. Their slow grinding reshapes mountains, leaving behind polished cliffs, deep basins, and broad valley floors. Many of the world's most dramatic landscapes in Norway, New Zealand, and Patagonia were sculpted by ice long vanished. Even today, where glaciers have retreated, their signature remains in every curve of the land. They are the ancient architects of Earth, working not in decades or centuries, but in epochs. Some mountains act like time machines, revealing climates that existed millions of years before humans appeared. Each layer of rock is a chapter of Earth's history, preserving clues in its minerals, textures, and fossils. By studying oxygen isotopes in limestone or the fine structure of volcanic ash, scientists can reconstruct ancient oceans, vanished weather patterns, and even long-extinct ecosystems. Mountains become archives of deep time, storing traces of worlds we can only imagine.
Some Himalayan summits still hide the sea inside them. Shells from ancient oceans sit frozen in stone, and layers of old desert sands now rest thousands of feet above today's sea level. Every climb is like stepping backward through time, moving from the world you know into landscapes long vanished. Each ridge is a preserved memory of rain, heat, and life that came before us. Mountains don't just reach the sky, they reach into the ages that built it. Mountains also hold the planet's greatest savings account of fresh water. High above the cloud line, snow piles up year after year, pressing itself into the glaciers that store nearly 3/4 of Earth's fresh water. These frozen reserves feed rivers that millions depend on. When spring arrives, melting snow threads into valleys, spills into streams, and fills reservoirs. But when snowfall comes late or melts too early, entire regions slip into drought. This is why the Himalayas, Andes, and Rockies are called the water towers of the world. Every winter, they lock water away, and every summer, they release it again, pulsing life into ecosystems far below. Watching fresh snow settle on a peak is like seeing the planet quietly collect future life, crystal by crystal. As glaciers melt, even the continents feel lighter. Ice is unbelievably heavy, and when thick glaciers disappear, the ground beneath them slowly rises in a process called isostatic adjustment. Northern Europe and Canada are still lifting from the last ice age. This redistribution of weight can trigger earthquakes and even ripple across the oceans, changing sea levels and subtly shifting gravity itself. As modern glaciers retreat, continents gently rise, coastlines shift, and the map of the world reshapes itself. Even in melting, ice continues to write the story of Earth. Mountains aren't just scenery. Over millions of years, they can influence the very tilt of the planet. Raising huge ranges like the Andes or Himalayas redistributes Earth's mass, nudging the planet's spin and affecting the long-term wobble of its axis. That wobble guides the rhythm of ice ages, warm periods, and climate cycles that shape the future. Stone rising from plate collisions can eventually touch the patterns of sunlight across entire hemispheres. In their slow, powerful way, mountains help steer the cosmic dance of Earth. But mountains also create entire stacked worlds of life. Each rise in altitude brings a new climate, a new soil, and a new ecosystem. At the base, warm forests stretch across the foothills. Higher up, evergreen woods thin into meadows and hardy shrubs adapted to cold winds and thin air.
Above the tree line, mosses and lichens grip bare rock where almost nothing else survives. Some ranges host species that exist nowhere else on the planet. In Kilimanjaro, giant strange plants rise like relics from ancient times. In the Andes, cushion plants form thick mats that trap warmth against freezing nights. Climb a single mountain, and you cross through multiple planets stacked on top of one another. Isolation creates life found nowhere else. Some plants grow only on a single slope of a single peak. In the high Andes, the Puya Raimondi lives more than a century before sending up a massive flower spike nearly 30 feet tall, blooming once before it dies. Mount Kinabalu in Borneo holds hundreds of species that exist only within its misty heights. These hidden kingdoms evolve in silence, shaped by thin air and sharp temperature swings. But as the climate warms, many of these species have no higher ground left to escape to. Some are already fading away, leaving behind only the memory of their fragile world in the sky. Every rare flower, every twisted shrub, every creature adapted to thin air reminds us that life's creativity often thrives in solitude. Each mountain peak shelters its own miracle.
High-altitude life demands creativity. In the thin, icy air of mountain ranges, animals must reshape their bodies and instincts to survive. Some species shrink to save energy, while others grow larger to hold on to precious heat. Snow leopards glide through the Himalayas with oversized lungs and thick fur, designed to handle air that feels barely breathable. Tiny pikas hide among rocks for warmth, while powerful yaks haul themselves across the cold with enormous chests that pull oxygen straight from the wind. Even birds adapt, evolving blood chemistry so efficient they can fly where most creatures would collapse. Over countless generations, altitude becomes a sculptor, shaping each species into a masterpiece that fits its elevation perfectly. Some animals even live inside clouds. In the misty mountain forests of Central and South America, entire species of frogs spend their lives in cloud banks that never touch the forest floor. Cloud forests cling to steep slopes where moisture gathers as a constant fog. Tree frogs and delicate glass frogs perch on dew-covered leaves, laying their eggs in the mist and absorbing water straight from the air. The clouds give them shelter, hydration, and a home suspended between sky and soil. Their soft calls drift through the fog, rising and fading like the vapor that keeps them alive. And while humans struggle to breathe above 26,000 feet, birds take the sky even higher. The bar-headed goose crosses the Himalayas at more than 29,000 feet, higher than the summit of Everest, using cold morning winds and oxygen-grabbing blood to glide across the roof of the world. Ruppel's vulture has been recorded soaring above 37,000 feet, flapping through a realm where the air is freezing and the oxygen is barely a whisper. These birds ride invisible highways through the upper sky, proof that nature can adapt even at the trembling edge of the stratosphere. Closer to the stone, mountain goats perform feats that defy belief. Their split hooves work like precision tools, the outer rim gripping rock like a climbing spike, the inner pad molding to tiny cracks. Even newborn kids learn to scale cliffs within hours, following their mothers up walls so steep they look impossible. Watching them leap from ledge to ledge feels like watching gravity take a break. High cliffs offer safety, endless views, and a home where only the sure-footed can survive. A mountain goat's hooves are nature's engineering at its finest, crafted for life where the sky begins. Even above the tree line, life refuses to surrender. Insects like stoneflies, snow fleas, and ice midges eke out an existence on bare rock and snow fields. They absorb heat through dark bodies, produce natural antifreeze, and feed on tiny algae carried by the wind.
Some lie motionless until a touch of sunlight wakes them. These hardy little survivors have barely changed for thousands of years. In places that seem empty and silent, they prove that even the harshest mountain terrain holds a hidden community. And then there are the butterflies that treat the mountain like a staircase. In the Himalayas and Andes, species such as the Apollo and the painted lady use altitude like a map. They climb to high meadows in summer where alpine flowers bloom, then drift back down toward warmer valleys as winter closes in. Each altitude becomes a stage in their life cycle. Eggs laid in the forests below, caterpillars growing in cool middle levels, adults glowing with color in the upper meadows. Up where the forest meets the open mountain slopes, trees begin to twist into strange, beautiful shapes. Constant winds bend their trunks, and freezing air forces their branches to grow low and strong. This sculpting effect, often called Krumholtz, turns entire groves into natural artwork shaped by nothing but weather. Every twisted pine or leaning spruce carries years of struggle inside its rings, each layer marking another season of survival. These trees may be smaller than their valley relatives, but they are infinitely tougher, gripping the soil with deep, anchored roots. Stand among them, and the wind seems to whisper their story, reminding you that mountains are shaped not just by stone, but by the breath of the sky itself. Every mountain has an invisible boundary where trees can grow no farther. This shifting limit, known as the timberline, rises and falls depending on climate, latitude, and rainfall. Near the tropics, forests can stretch up to 12,000 feet. Near the poles, trees vanish just a few hundred feet above sea level. The height of the timberline is a quiet record of Earth's changing weather, rising during warmer centuries and falling during colder ones. Above that boundary, cold air and relentless wind stop seeds from taking root, though hardy shrubs and grasses still cling to life. The timberline isn't a sharp border, it's a gentle fade where the forest slowly dissolves into sky, one of the mountain's most delicate thresholds. On the world's highest peaks, the landscape begins to resemble another planet. Above 20,000 feet, sunlight feels harsh, oxygen is scarce, and the ground is nearly sterile. Only a few microbes and lichens survive in this raw, unforgiving world. Temperatures swing wildly between burning days and freezing nights, and ultraviolet radiation beats down with fierce intensity. Because of these similarities, scientists often use places like the Atacama Plateau and the highest ridges of the Himalayas to test equipment meant for Mars. Instruments for rovers are first tried in these alien-like regions where red dust, barren rock, and thin air mirror conditions on other worlds. Standing on one of these summits feels like stepping onto another planet without ever leaving Earth. The human body begins to transform the moment it arrives at altitude. With every breath containing less oxygen, your heart speeds up, your lungs pull harder, and your kidneys release signals that tell your bones to make new red blood cells. Over time, your muscles adapt to use oxygen more efficiently. But the changes also bring fatigue, headaches, restless sleep, and altitude sickness for anyone who climbs too fast. For high-altitude peoples like the Sherpa of Nepal and the Quechua of the Andes, these adjustments run deep in their DNA. Their bodies naturally widen blood vessels, improve circulation, and use oxygen far more effectively. It's a quiet triumph of biology, proving that even the human species can reshape itself to meet the demands of the sky. Up high, even physics works differently. Water boils at surprisingly low temperatures because thin air needs less heat to turn liquid into vapor. On the summit of Everest, it boils at only about 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Food takes longer to cook, tea never gets truly hot, and climbers sip warm water that still steams in the freezing air. This simple change affects weather patterns too, influencing how moisture evaporates and condenses in mountain atmospheres. For mountaineers, understanding this shift isn't just interesting, it can be life-saving. Even the act of boiling water becomes a lesson in how altitude bends the rules of everyday life. Within days of climbing high, the human body ramps up red blood cell production. As soon as oxygen drops, the kidneys release erythropoietin, telling the bone marrow to create more oxygen carriers. These new cells travel through the bloodstream like tiny couriers, delivering precious oxygen to every organ. The blood thickens slightly, and the body becomes better at capturing each breath of thin air. This is the same natural advantage athletes chase by training at elevation, returning to sea level stronger and more capable once their bodies have adapted.
The process is a quiet dance between biology and physics, showing just how flexible life can be. Every heartbeat at altitude becomes a small test of endurance, the body subtly rewriting its chemistry to meet the mountain's steady challenge. There is a place where people live higher than some clouds. In the Peruvian Andes sits La Rinconada, a mining town perched more than 16,000 feet above sea level. Clouds sometimes drift below its homes, and visitors often struggle to breathe within minutes. Yet over 30,000 people call it home, working in thin air where water boils at a lukewarm temperature. There is no running water, no sanitation, and every movement demands effort, but life persists. The people who live there have bodies shaped by generations of adaptation, able to thrive where most would faint. Above them lie glaciers and snowfields, and below them the world feels almost impossibly far away. Days bring fierce sunlight, and cold nights press hard against the skin. But this fragile settlement shows that humans can build a home even where the air itself seems too light to carry life. Mountain valleys have sheltered cultures for thousands of years. Long before explorers arrived, entire civilizations developed in high-altitude landscapes. In the Andes, Quechua and Aymara communities mastered farming on steep terraces, growing quinoa and potatoes where few other crops could survive. In the Himalayas, Sherpa villages flourished along ancient trade paths threading between peaks. Across North Africa, Nepal, and the Caucasus, people shaped their music, language, and architecture around the mountains that surrounded them. Thin air, rugged terrain, and isolation nurtured resilience, spirituality, and a deep sense of belonging. To many, the mountains were not obstacles, but guardians and teachers. Their winds, glaciers, and star-filled skies shaped traditions that continue to this day. Walking through these communities is a reminder that humanity has long belonged to the mountains, not as conquerors, but as companions. For centuries, sacred structures rose high on mountain peaks in the belief that altitude brought the soul closer to the divine. Greece imagined Zeus commanding from Mount Olympus, and temples lined its slopes. In the Andes, the Inca built shrines atop volcanoes more than 20,000 feet high, offering gold to the heavens. In Japan, climbing Mount Fuji became both a spiritual journey and a physical ascent, a ritual path between the earthly and the divine. Across continents, small hilltop sanctuaries followed the same instinct. The higher the place, the thinner the veil between heaven and earth. Every carved stair and stone altar still murmurs the same ancient truth, that the human spirit has always reached upward. Pilgrimage once carried people across glaciers and frozen passes. Before mountaineering existed, faith alone pushed travelers into harsh, icy worlds. In Tibet, devotees walked for months along snowy ridges to reach monasteries hidden among the peaks. In the Alps, pilgrims crossed glaciers to visit shrines like the Great St. Bernard Hospice, perched above 9,000 feet. Monks still welcome travelers there, just as they did centuries ago. These journeys were as much prayer as travel, each step a testament to devotion. Today, trekkers follow many of those same routes, feeling the echo of countless footsteps laid down long before them. In the hush of snow and stone, humanity's search for meaning has always pulled us upward toward toward the light. Across cultures, mountains have long been imagined as homes of gods and spirits. To the Greeks, Olympus thundered with the presence of Zeus. In Hindu teachings, Mount Kailash is the axis of the universe, the seat of Lord Shiva. The Japanese speak of a goddess watching over Mount Fuji, and Maori stories describe New Zealand's volcanoes as living ancestors engaged in quiet rivalry. Mountains disappear into clouds, touch storms, and hold weather that seems otherworldly. To ancient eyes, they were not landmarks, but living mysteries. Lightning at the summit was a conversation among gods. Even today, many peaks remain off-limits out of respect for sacred traditions. These mountains stand as bridges between the human and the divine, places where the earth seems to reach for the heavens. Many ancient cultures went a step further, seeing mountains as the very axis of the world. The Greeks had Olympus, the Hindus imagined Mount Meru, and the Norse envisioned Yggdrasil, a cosmic tree joining heaven, earth, and the underworld. Each myth carries the same thread, a single sacred connection tying the universe together.
Some civilizations mirrored sacred peaks in their architecture, building pyramids that symbolize the same cosmic connection. In Mesoamerica, these structures weren't just monuments, they were stone reflections of the mountains themselves, bridging earth and the heavens. The idea endures because mountains naturally embody balance, stability, and the link between human life and celestial order. Standing on a summit, surrounded by horizons in every direction, feels almost like arriving at the center of creation, where sky and earth rotate around you. These beliefs were never mere superstitions. They were intuitive expressions of how ancient cultures understood the cosmos. Mountains felt like the spine of the world, anchoring everything against chaos. Even today, we climb them seeking clarity, instinctively sensing they are both anchor and axis of existence. Some mountains were imagined to pierce the heavens. Long before we could fly, humanity pictured peaks rising into the realm of gods. In Mesopotamian stories, Mount Mashu guarded the sunrise. In the Old Testament, Moses ascended Mount Sinai and received divine law through cloud and thunder. The Inca believed their highest summits were gateways to the afterlife. These legends shaped a spiritual geography in which height symbolized transcendence. Climbing upward meant crossing into a sacred threshold. Thin air, deep silence, and stars that feel close enough to touch made the illusion powerful. Even today, standing on a high peak can feel like brushing against infinity. The same old myth turning geography into wonder. Mountains are the favorite targets of lightning. Their peaks push into the paths of storm clouds, becoming natural rods for the sky's electricity. As the charge builds in the atmosphere, it concentrates at the summit until the balance snaps and lightning leaps from cloud to stone. Some mountains, like Mount Rainier or the Matterhorn, are struck hundreds of times each year. Climbers sometimes feel the charge moments before a strike, their hair standing on end as the air hums with invisible tension. Trees split, rocks burst apart, and trails of melted glass called fulgurites etch themselves across the ground. It is raw power, a reminder that even stone can be humbled. Yet from afar, the flash is breathtaking, a single spear of light linking earth and air, crowning the mountains with nature's own halo. At times, peaks seem to sing with electricity. Before lightning hits, static can build so intensely that metal tools buzz and faint humming sweeps through the air. On high ridges, climbers report hearing a soft, eerie melody as charged particles dance along the stone. Sometimes tiny blue flames appear on metal or fingertips, known as St. Elmo's fire. It is a haunting glow, beautiful yet dangerous, the final warning before the storm unleashes its power. In these moments, the mountain feels alive, humming like an immense instrument played by the sky.
Mountains are the favorite targets of lightning. Their peaks push into the paths of storm clouds, becoming natural rods for the sky's electricity. As the charge builds in the atmosphere, it concentrates at the summit until the balance snaps and lightning leaps from cloud to stone. Some mountains, like Mount Rainier or the Matterhorn, are struck hundreds of times each year. Climbers sometimes feel the charge moments before a strike, their hair standing on end as the air hums with invisible tension. Trees split, rocks burst apart, and trails of melted glass called fulgurites etch themselves across the ground. It is raw power, a reminder that even stone can be humbled. Yet from afar, the flash is breathtaking, a single spear of light linking earth and air, crowning the mountains with nature's own halo. At times, peaks seem to sing with electricity. Before lightning hits, static can build so intensely that metal tools buzz and faint humming sweeps through the air. On high ridges, climbers report hearing a soft, eerie melody as charged particles dance along the stone. Sometimes tiny blue flames appear on metal or fingertips, known as St. Elmo's fire. It is a haunting glow, beautiful yet dangerous, the final warning before the storm unleashes its power. In these moments, the mountain feels alive, humming like an immense instrument played by the sky. Deep within mountains, ancient minerals generate subtle magnetic fields. Iron-rich stones like magnetite, hematite, and pyrrhotite align with Earth's magnetic field as they cool underground. They freeze that alignment in place, storing it for millions of years. These deposits can even confuse compasses, making needles waver or spin as travelers pass. To geologists, these magnetic signatures are priceless. They reveal how continents once drifted, rotated, and collided. Every grain of mineral becomes a tiny compass that points not to today's north, but to the north of long ago. Mountains become archives of the planet's shifting poles, preserving the invisible story of Earth's wandering magnetic heart. Certain rocks record the movement of Earth's magnetic poles with astonishing precision. As molten stone cools, iron minerals lock into the direction of the field at that exact moment. Layer by layer, mountain ranges become libraries of deep time. By comparing rocks of different ages, scientists can piece together how the poles have shifted, proving that continents drifted thousands of miles and turned in ways once unimaginable. Some ancient mountains show that what we call north today once faced east or west. The ground beneath our feet holds a quiet map of the planet's long journey. Mountains preserve those memories, reminding us that even something as steady as a compass is only a temporary truth written on a restless world. And then there are forces that reshape mountains in an instant. Earthquakes can lift them or tear them down in a matter of minutes, rewriting landscapes that took millennia to form. Most mountains rise over millions of years, but sometimes a single quake can rewrite their shape in seconds. When pressure builds deep underground and suddenly releases, entire slabs of rock can lurch upward or crumble away. In 1960, Chile's massive earthquake lifted parts of the coastline more than 10 feet, forming new cliffs in a single night. In other places, like the Himalayas and Alaska, violent shaking has obliterated ancient peaks in mere moments. These events remind us that the forces shaping beauty can also unleash destruction. Earth's crust behaves like a living skin, cracking, healing, and reshaping itself through cycles of unbelievable power. Mountains are born from chaos, and sometimes with one shudder, they return to it. Entire lakes have disappeared because a mountain shifted. When the ground beneath a lake fractures during an earthquake or landslide, water can drain away almost instantly. After the 2008 Wenchuan earthquake in China, some mountain lakes vanished, while others formed within hours as rivers were dammed by collapsed rock. Temporary reservoirs swelled and burst. In Iceland and Alaska, glacial lakes have emptied in a single day, leaving cracked basins where water once shimmered. These moments are mesmerizing and unsettling at the same time, proof that mountains are not fixed monuments, but breathing structures capable of transforming within our own lifetimes. What feels permanent can vanish overnight, reshaped by the movement of Earth's deep bones.
Landslides can outrun a speeding car as they thunder down a mountainside. When the balance of rock and soil fails, gravity unleashes terrifying momentum. Some slides exceed 100 miles per hour, shredding forests and burying valleys in moments. One of the largest in history, in Alaska's Lituya Bay, launched a wave more than 1,700 feet high across the fjord. The energy released matched a major explosion. Rain, melting snow, or earthquakes might trigger them, but the result is always sudden. Scientists study these collapses to understand how friction and heat can turn solid rock into flowing debris. Afterward, the land looks rewritten, valleys erased, rivers redirected. A landslide is the mountain's most dramatic exhale, the weight of ages charging downhill at once. Avalanches unleash more power than a bomb. Every snowfall builds layers of tension across a steep slope, and sometimes all it takes is a crack, a shout, or a temperature shift for the mountain to let go. Thousands of tons of snow can roar downhill at over 200 miles per hour, generating pressures strong enough to crush forests and buildings. The energy rivals that of explosives, yet the avalanche moves with eerie silence until it reaches the valley floor, where the air erupts into sparkling frost. All winter long, mountains store this invisible power, waiting for the moment it releases. To those who study them, avalanches are both destruction and choreography, a fleeting reminder that even snow can carry the force of thunder. Some avalanches push walls of air ahead of them, flattening forests long before the snow arrives. As a massive cascade races down the slope, it displaces the atmosphere with incredible speed. This blast of air can reach hurricane strength, snapping trees and tearing roofs away. In the Alps and Rockies, entire forests have been found crushed while the snow stopped yards away. It's not always the snow that kills, but the avalanche's breath, a shock wave of displaced air. Afterward, the stillness feels unnatural. The world lies in tangled ruin, echoing the invisible power that swept through moments earlier. Even the snow itself can speak. Under rare conditions, shifting snowfields create a low, musical hum as layers compress and slide. This phenomenon, known as singing snow, has been heard in deserts, polar plains, and glacial valleys. The sound carries across the landscape, a deep vibration produced when uniform snow grains rub in harmony. Ancient travelers believed these were voices of spirits hidden in the ice. Science calls it friction, but the magic remains. Standing on a mountainside and hearing the earth hum back feels like witnessing a secret, a whisper from another world. Proof that even silence in the mountains is never truly silent.
Mountain caves are born from the slow breath of water dissolving ancient stone. Many peaks hide vast labyrinths beneath their surfaces, carved grain by grain as slightly acidic rain seeps into cracks in limestone. Over thousands of years, tiny fractures widen into corridors, chambers, and underground rivers. Stalactites and stalagmites rise and fall like forests turn to stone, each drop of mineral-rich water adding another layer of time. Some of the deepest caves on Earth, from the Caucasus to the Carpathians, stretch for miles beneath the mountains above. Every echo inside them feels like the heartbeat of geology, pulsing through the dark. These caverns act like the lungs of the mountains, breathing water and air through hidden spaces that forever reshape the secret architecture beneath the peaks we see. In some regions, entire cave systems weave beneath whole mountain ranges. The Alps, the Dinaric Alps, and the Appalachians hold networks of tunnels that run for hundreds of miles. Sinkholes, rivers, and cathedral-sized chambers connect into immense, silent worlds. Kentucky's Mammoth Cave stretches more than 400 miles underground, with new passages still being uncovered. These vast systems formed as groundwater followed fractures, slowly sculpting stone until darkness became a kingdom of its own. Within these depths live creatures found nowhere else on Earth, from blind fish to translucent insects adapted to eternal night. Above ground, hikers may never realize that the mountains they admire rest upon a fragile maze of caverns. Each drop of water continues a process that began long before human eyes ever saw the peaks above. Underground rivers flow through these mountains in complete silence, following paths carved long before recorded history. Rain and melting snow disappear into cracks, slipping into limestone or granite and gathering in smooth, worn channels. These hidden rivers can travel for miles, winding through caverns older than the mountains themselves. Some burst back into daylight as springs that pour from cliffs. Others remain hidden forever, known only by faint drips echoing through darkness. Scientists trace these waters with dyes, watching bright colors emerge miles away, days or weeks later. Down in the depths, water moves with the patience of sleep, carving the mountains from within. Imagining these rivers is like picturing the planet breathing inward, a quiet pulse flowing beneath rock and shadow. Deep in these caverns, rare crystals grow in perfect stillness. In places untouched by sunlight, minerals rise like frozen blossoms. Droplets of mineral-rich water evaporate slowly, leaving behind sheets and needles of calcite, aragonite, and gypsum. In Mexico's Cave of the Crystals, colossal selenite beams as long as houses glow with ghostly light. Some took hundreds of thousands of years to form, expanding at a pace slower than a heartbeat. The balance of humidity and temperature must remain flawless or the growth stops forever. Each crystal is a sculpture of patience, shaped by silence and chemistry. In the world beneath our feet, mountains craft beauty that few will ever see, an elegant realm sleeping within the bones of stone. Even precious metals tell the story of ancient mountains. Gold, silver, and copper are not accidents of geology. They are born from the immense heat and pressure beneath mountain roots. When magma cools deep underground, it releases mineral-rich fluids that seep into cracks and leave behind veins of metal. As mountains erode away over millions of years, these veins become exposed. Many of the richest gold fields on Earth, from South Africa to Australia, lie where ancient mountain ranges once stood. Mining them is like uncovering the ghosts of peaks that vanished long before humanity appeared. Every gold nugget, every trace of silver is a relic of fire and geological time, a fragment of Earth's hidden alchemy. Mountains are not just towers of stone, they are crucibles where the planet refines its treasures. Even precious metals tell the story of ancient mountains. Gold, silver, and copper are not accidents of geology. They are born from the immense heat and pressure beneath mountain roots. When magma cools deep underground, it releases mineral-rich fluids that seep into cracks and leave behind veins of metal. As mountains erode away over millions of years, these veins become exposed. Many of the richest gold fields on Earth, from South Africa to Australia, lie where ancient mountain ranges once stood. Mining them is like uncovering the ghosts of peaks that vanished long before humanity appeared. Every gold nugget, every trace of silver is a relic of fire and geological time, a fragment of Earth's hidden alchemy. Mountains are not just towers of stone, they are crucibles where the planet refines its treasures. Even precious metals tell the story of ancient mountains. Gold, silver, and copper are not accidents of geology. They are born from the immense heat and pressure beneath mountain roots. When magma cools deep underground, it releases mineral-rich fluids that seep into cracks and leave behind veins of metal. As mountains erode away over millions of years, these veins become exposed. Many of the richest gold fields on Earth, from South Africa to Australia,
lie where ancient mountain ranges once stood. Mining them is like uncovering the ghosts of peaks that vanished long before humanity appeared. Every gold nugget, every trace of silver is a relic of fire and geological time, a fragment of Earth's hidden alchemy. Mountains are not just towers of stone, they are crucibles where the planet refines its treasures.
Each gem is like a tiny messenger from a realm most of us will never witness. When light travels through a polished diamond, it carries a story that began deep in darkness, shaped by the same violent forces that lift continents and raise the spines of mountains. The rocks inside mountains also preserve the chemistry of Earth's earliest oceans. Long before life flourished, minerals in ancient seabed sediments absorbed the makeup of those primeval waters. When these layers were later pushed upward into mountain ranges, they carried with them a chemical snapshot of the seas they once rested in. By studying these rocks, scientists can piece together ancient oxygen, carbon, and iron levels, revealing how Earth slowly transformed into a world capable of sustaining life. Some mountain limestones still cradle faint stromatolite patterns left by microbes billions of years ago, while others show bands of color that mark the first time oxygen rusted the planet's iron-rich seas. Holding such a stone is like touching the memory of the world's first oceans, now lifted toward the sky. Fossils found in mountains prove that entire ranges were once underwater. High above modern coastlines, shells and corals lie locked in stone, silent reminders that these peaks were once part of the seafloor. When tectonic plates collided and pushed the ocean bottom upward, these fossils rose with it. The Himalayas, Alps, and Rockies all contain remnants of ancient marine life. These fossils reveal not only extinct species, but also the climates that shaped them. A seashell on a mountaintop is one of Earth's greatest contradictions, proof of water held in the heart of stone, and a reminder that every summit was once part of a living sea. Some mountains preserve traces of long-lost continents. Beneath today's surface lie fragments of vanished worlds. Certain mountain ranges contain rocks that don't match the local geology. These foreign blocks, known as terrains, are pieces of ancient continents carried across oceans by drifting tectonic plates. When the plates collided, the fragments were fused into new ranges, preserving clues about landmasses that no longer exist. The Himalayas contain pieces of the old Tethys seafloor, while northern Canada holds remnants of a forgotten microcontinent called Arctica. By analyzing their age and minerals, scientists can reconstruct continents erased by time. Mountains become archives of Earth's migrations, storing the puzzle pieces of a planet constantly breaking apart and rebuilding itself. A few ranges still carry the scars of the supercontinent Pangaea. About 200 million years ago, all land on Earth was joined into one immense mass. As Pangaea split, its fractures became new oceans, and its ridges became future mountains. The Appalachian Mountains in North America and the Atlas Mountains in Africa were once part of the same continuous chain. Even their rocks and fossils still match, like pages torn from the same book. When the continents drifted apart, these shared mountains were carried away, separated by entire oceans. Standing atop an Appalachian peak is the same as touching stone that also rises in Africa. Mountains are the stitching that once bound the continents together, preserving the memory of Pangaea's ancient embrace. Mountains have shaped global wind and rain patterns for millions of years. When a mountain range rises, it redirects the flow of air and moisture. Winds forced upward cool and release rain on one side, while creating deserts in the rain shadow behind. Over deep time, this reshapes ecosystems and even influences evolution. The Andes helped create the Atacama Desert. The Himalayas redirected the jet stream, and the Rockies guide storms across North America.
By altering the movement of air, mountains influence where forests grow, where grasslands spread, and how much carbon is absorbed from the atmosphere. As the land rises, the air learns new paths, and in that constant interplay, the planet's climate evolves. The rise of the Himalayas played a major role in shaping monsoon systems. When the Indian plate slammed into Asia, it lifted not just mountains, but entire weather cycles. The Himalayas formed a colossal barrier that trapped moisture from the Indian Ocean, forcing it upward into massive seasonal rains. Behind the range, the Tibetan Plateau acts like a giant heat engine, absorbing sunlight and driving powerful atmospheric currents. Without the Himalayas, Asia's climate would look nothing like it does today. Much of the region might be dry desert instead of one of the most fertile corners of the planet, where you can direct a voice, create realistic dialogue, and so much more. Edit these placeholders to get started.
The very water that nourishes fields and forests follows patterns shaped by stone. Every drop of monsoon rain is an echo of ancient tectonic collisions, a reminder that mountains and atmosphere are locked in a partnership that still guides the rhythm of the seasons. Mountain weather can shift faster than anywhere else on Earth. A few quiet minutes can turn into a storm of blinding wind and lightning. Warm air races upward along the slopes, cools suddenly, and builds clouds that erupt without warning. Climbers have watched clear blue skies collapse into swirling snow before they could retreat. This volatility exists because mountains interrupt smooth airflow, forcing the atmosphere into turbulence. Peaks act like engines of unpredictability, spawning storms that appear and vanish within hours. In the Alps, a single day can cycle through all 4 seasons. To stand on a summit under racing clouds is to witness nature changing shape in real time. Some storms never leave a single valley. In mountain regions, the terrain itself dictates how air behaves. A valley can trap warm air during the day and release it at night, setting the stage for sudden, isolated storms. When moist air rises from the valley floor and cools, clouds can burst into rain and disappear moments later, never crossing the ridges around them. Thunder rolls between the slopes in perfect rhythm, and it can rain on one side of a river while the other remains dry. Locals learn the subtle signs: the shape of a growing cloud, the sharp scent of ozone, the stillness before the first drop. These miniature weather systems belong entirely to their mountains, private conversations between air and stone that rise and fade unnoticed by the world beyond. Entire cities depend on snow stored in mountains. Winter snowpacks are enormous natural reservoirs that melt slowly each spring, feeding rivers that sustain millions of people. Los Angeles relies on the Sierra Nevada, and much of South Asia depends on Himalayan meltwater for drinking, farming, and electricity. This system is delicate. Too little snow brings drought. Too much snow causes floods. Scientists track snowpack closely, knowing that even a small shift in temperature can change the fate of entire regions. Each snowflake is a promise written in winter, a contract between mountains and the valleys below. When it melts, that promise becomes rivers, turning frozen silence into life. When mountains lose their snow, rivers downstream begin to vanish. As global temperatures rise, glaciers and snowfields are shrinking faster than they can recover. These frozen reservoirs once released water steadily through the warm seasons, long after rain had stopped. Now, many rivers in the Andes and Himalayas are running dry earlier each year. Communities that had depended on meltwater for centuries are feeling the loss. Ecosystems, wetlands, and farms are shifting under the strain. The disappearance of mountain snow is a quiet crisis. A reservoir at the top of the world is fading in real time, and once it is gone, it may take thousands of years to return. Mountains remember their water even when the valleys below begin to forget. Some mountain valleys act like amplifiers for sound.
In certain high basins, sound behaves almost like light reflecting in a mirror. Steep rock walls and curved terrain bounce and focus sound waves, amplifying even soft noises. A crack of ice, a shout, or a single thunderclap can echo again and again across the valley before fading away. Some places produce eerie, lingering reverberations that seem to come from nowhere. Others distort sound so that it feels closer or further than it truly is. Ancient cultures believed these echoes were the voices of spirits or gods answering from the cliffs. Today, we know it is the acoustics of stone, perfectly shaped to trap vibration. Yet hearing your own voice return from the mountains still feels less like physics and more like a quiet dialogue with the land. In rare mountain basins, echoes can last nearly a full minute. Geological formations in places like Norway's fjords, Iceland's volcanic calderas, and high Himalayan valleys create perfect chambers for sound to linger, repeating again and again before fading into silence.
The echo in certain mountain basins feels almost alive, repeating and reshaping itself as the air shifts. Early travelers wrote of peaks that seemed to speak back, their voices carried across frozen lakes and magnified by towering cliffs. Even today, the effect feels otherworldly. Sound becomes something physical, drifting through the air like mist. These long echoes reveal how mountains hold and release energy, how stone and atmosphere hum together in resonance. When the last vibration fades, the silence that follows feels deeper, as if the landscape itself has taken a long breath. Mountains remind us that even a single sound can outlive its source among their vast, echoing walls. At high altitudes, thin air lets light scatter in spectacular ways. With fewer particles to diffuse sunlight, the sky deepens into a rich, intense blue. At sunrise and sunset, colors stretch across the horizon in glowing bands of gold, crimson, and violet. Dust and ice suspended in the upper atmosphere can bend light into halos, arcs, and rare flashes of green or purple. At night, stars shine sharper and brighter, their colors more vivid without the haze of the lower atmosphere. Shadows grow crisp, distances look surreal, and the world appears polished by altitude. Climbers and photographers often describe the light as almost otherworldly. It is the same sun we know, yet at these heights, stripped of interference, its clarity feels raw and infinite. The mountains reveal light in its purest form. Mountains are among the best places on Earth to witness the night sky. Far from cities, in air that is thin, dry, and silent, the cosmos unfolds with breathtaking clarity. From a mountain summit, the Milky Way stretches from horizon to horizon like a river of pale fire. Nebulae glow faintly where light pollution never reaches. This is why astronomers build observatories on high peaks. The atmosphere is calmer, the stars steadier, and the view of the universe clearer. On Mauna Kea in Hawaii or La Silla in Chile, telescopes stare deep into space through air untouched by moisture or dust. Standing outside at these heights feels like floating between Earth and the cosmos, surrounded by silence and starlight. The mountains bring the universe close enough to feel, as if the stars themselves were leaning in to listen. Long before modern science, ancient astronomers climbed mountains to study the sky. Before telescopes existed, high ground served as natural observatories. In Babylon, priests ascended ziggurats modeled after sacred hills to track the motions of the stars. In the Andes, the Inca aligned temples with solstices and used mountain ridges as celestial markers. Greek astronomers climbed Mount Helicon and Mount Ida to watch the heavens without haze. In ancient China, emperors built stone platforms on high ground to follow comets and eclipses. These early sky watchers knew that altitude brought clarity, that every step upward carried them closer to the rhythms of the heavens. From their vantage points, they charted constellations, predicted seasons, and spun myths from the patterns of light. Mountains became both temples and telescopes, places where curiosity and wonder met the sky. Today, some of the world's most powerful observatories stand high above the clouds. Modern science continues the ancient tradition of seeking the stars from the heights. The European Southern Observatory in the Atacama Desert, the Keck Observatory on Hawaii's Mauna Kea, and the Indian Astronomical Observatory in Ladakh all operate at extreme altitudes where the air is thin and dry. From these summits, telescopes capture light from galaxies billions of years old. Astronomers live and work in thin air, surrounded by silence and stars. On certain nights, the sky is so clear that the Milky Way casts faint shadows on the ground. These observatories are humanity's highest reach for understanding, built where the sky begins. The same mountains that once held myths of gods now hold instruments that reveal the universe's true scale. Stone and starlight share the same horizon. And beyond Earth, mountains grow even more extraordinary. Compared to the giants of other worlds, our peaks seem modest. On Mars rises Olympus Mons, a shield volcano nearly 3 times taller than Mount Everest. Its base is so vast that it could cover the entire state of Arizona. With lower gravity and no tectonic plates to pull the crust downward, the volcano grew for millions of years, its slopes stretching for hundreds of miles. Other worlds boast mountains even taller relative to their size. On the asteroid Vesta, a peak named Rhea Silvia towers across a world barely 300 miles wide, dwarfing the landscape around it.
In the thin atmosphere of Mars, Olympus Mons throws a shadow so vast it slips beyond the planet's curve. These alien giants remind us that the forces shaping landscapes are the same everywhere, carving beauty from fire and stone on any world brave enough to rise from the dust. Take Mercury, for example. The smallest planet in our solar system hides mountains unlike anything on Earth. Its battered surface is lined with ridges and cliffs made from metal-rich rock, heavy with iron and silicates. As Mercury's interior cooled long ago, the entire planet shrank, wrinkling its crust like a drying fruit. Some of these lobate scarps climb more than a mile high and run for hundreds of miles. Denser and harder than Earth's crust, these metallic ridges catch sunlight like polished steel. Scientists believe these frozen folds mark Mercury's slow contraction as heat seeped away from its molten core. Standing on one would mean watching sunlight glint off rock that once flowed like liquid metal, a final shimmer from a world cooling into silence beneath a blazing sky. Far beyond the warmth of the inner planets, Pluto tells a different story. Here, ice mountains don't just stand still, they drift. At the edge of the solar system, where the sun is little more than a bright star, Pluto wears a crown of towering peaks made of solid water ice. This ice is so cold and rigid, it behaves like granite, yet it floats on a vast bed of softer nitrogen ice that moves like thick syrup. Over centuries, entire mountain ranges glide slowly across the landscape. Some peaks reach heights rivaling the Rockies, shimmering under faint sunlight. When NASA's New Horizons spacecraft flew past Pluto, it captured these silent giants drifting across the bright plain of Sputnik Planetitia. Mountains without roots, sailing on a frozen sea, reminding us that even in the universe's coldest shadows, motion and transformation never stop. Closer to home but shrouded in mystery, Venus hides volcanic monsters beneath its dense yellow clouds. These volcanoes dwarf most of Earth's, with Mont Mons rising nearly 5 miles high and spreading hundreds of miles across. Vast lava plains blend into shield volcanoes so wide they overlap, covering 4/5 of the planet's surface. Since Venus lacks plate tectonics, its crust swells and sinks under immense plumes of rising magma. Some volcanoes may still be active, reshaping the surface with bursts of heat and gas. Recent radar images hint at changes in their outlines, suggesting eruptions may still occur. Standing there would mean facing an atmosphere hot enough to melt steel, surrounded by mountains born in fire on a world where the ground itself seems alive. Then there's Mars, home to cliffs that make Earth's tallest peaks look tiny. Stretching along its equator lies Valles Marineris, a canyon system so massive it defies imagination. It spans over 2,000 miles and plunges more than 6 miles deep, far deeper than Mount Everest's height, even stacked 3 times. Scientists believe it formed when the Martian crust cracked under the immense swelling of nearby Tharsis volcanoes. Over ages, landslides and ancient floods carved the fractures into a maze of cliffs and valleys. From its edge, you'd see cliffs fading into red haze and shadows stretching across a horizon that curves with the planet. Valles Marineris isn't just a canyon, it's a planetary scar large enough to swallow the entire United States. And not all mountains rise from worlds. Some drift through the cosmos alone. Many asteroids like Bennu and Ryugu are roughly a third of a mile tall, shaped by countless micro-impacts over billions of years. With almost no gravity, they form jagged, uneven peaks that look like mountains spinning in the void. Spacecraft have found boulders perched on slopes where even the slightest push could send them floating away. Some asteroids spin so quickly that loose material drifts outward, forming thin rings of dust. Landing on one is like standing on a mountaintop without a horizon, where the stars never shift and the concepts of up and down simply disappear. These drifting fragments are reminders that mountains aren't confined to planets. They're scattered throughout space, pieces of ancient worlds suspended between light and silence. Scientists study these mountains, wherever they appear, to understand how planets live and evolve. Every peak carries a record of pressure, heat, and time. By tracing how mountains rise and erode, researchers uncover the hidden mechanics of planetary interiors, the thickening of crusts, and the rhythms of atmospheres. On Earth, mountain studies reveal the dance of plate tectonics, while comparisons with Mars and Venus show what happens when those processes slow or end.
Where you can direct a voice, create realistic dialogue, and so much more. Edit these placeholders to get started.
Even the frozen ridges of distant moons like Europa and Enceladus hold secrets about how water and rock behave under alien conditions. These icy spines are natural laboratories performing experiments in physics and chemistry on scales no human could ever recreate. Every ridge, fold, and fracture records a story of balance and change, shaped by the same cosmic forces that mold every world drifting through the darkness of space. High in Earth's own mountains, the extremes push life to its absolute limits. As elevation rises, the air thins, temperatures plunge, and sunlight strikes with raw, unfiltered intensity. Yet life still clings on. Scientists studying climbers, yaks, and microorganisms living on glaciers have uncovered astonishing adaptations. Human blood chemistry shifts to draw in more oxygen. Certain plants tweak their metabolism to resist the cold, and tiny microbes survive on bare rock, feeding on minerals and dim light alone. These hardy survivors hinted how life might persist on planets with thin atmospheres or frozen landscapes. Every journey upward becomes a study in resilience, a quiet revelation of evolution's creativity in the face of harshness. In that thin air, surrounded by stone and silence, life proves again and again that it will always find a way, even where the world seems to end. Long before satellites and aircraft brought the sky within scientific reach, mountaineers were the first to explore the upper world. Their climbs led them into places no researcher had ever touched, and their discoveries often reshaped entire fields of study. They found new species of plants and insects, uncovered rare minerals, and even collected meteorites trapped in ancient ice. On Everest, climbers gathered air samples that revealed the chemistry of the upper atmosphere. Expeditions in the Andes and Karakoram unearthed fossils that rewrote the timeline of geological history. Even today, mountaineers help track glacier retreat, rock stability, and shifting weather patterns, blending adventure with scientific insight. Many mountains are still so remote that only those willing to climb them can study them. Every ascent becomes a partnership between human determination and scientific curiosity, expanding not only horizons, but the very boundaries of knowledge. And while they may look eternal, every mountain on Earth is slowly changing shape. To most of us, mountains appear frozen in time, but in reality, they never stop moving. Wind smooths their ridges, rain eats away at their valleys, and earthquakes tilt their slopes. Even sunlight and ice cause daily cycles of expansion and contraction. Some peaks rise as the crust compresses, while others sink as erosion carries their mass away. Satellites reveal just how restless these giants truly are. Each day, the Himalayas lift by a fraction of an inch, the Alps erode by the width of a grain of sand, and volcanoes swell or slump in subtle rhythms. Although these changes are invisible across a single lifetime, they never cease. Mountains are sculpted continuously, shaped again and again by pressures deep within the earth and forces blowing across its surface. They are slow-motion masterpieces, landscapes being rewritten one quiet heartbeat at a time. And even the oldest ranges on Earth are still evolving. The worn slopes of the Appalachians and the ancient mountains of South Africa may look peaceful, yet deep below, the mantle continues to stir. In some regions, rising heat slowly lifts entire plateaus, while in others, cooling crust pulls land downward in gentle subsidence. Wind and water carve away at exposed peaks, carrying dust from mountaintops into valleys and oceans. The tug of uplift and the pull of erosion never truly end. Over millions of years, entire ranges have risen, disappeared, and returned in new forms. A mountain that seems timeless is just one moment in Earth's long, breathing cycle, a reminder that the ground beneath us is never still. And some mountains vanish almost as quickly as they appear. In regions of intense volcanic or tectonic activity, peaks can rise, crumble, and disappear within a single human lifetime. The island of Surtsey off Iceland erupted from the sea in 1963 and immediately began eroding under waves and storms. Elsewhere, new mountains form along ocean ridges or inside desert craters built from soft ash or lava that quickly falls apart under wind and rain. Some volcanic cones collapse only years after their birth, leaving behind circular lakes or quiet valleys of ash. Their short lives are a vivid reminder that Earth's surface is in constant motion. Not all mountains are monuments to eternity. Some flare into existence briefly and fade just as fast. Each vanished peak becomes part of the planet's ongoing memory of creation, destruction, and renewal. The very water that nourishes fields and forests follows patterns shaped by stone. Every drop of monsoon rain is an echo of ancient tectonic collisions, a reminder that mountains and atmosphere are locked in a partnership that still guides the rhythm of the seasons. Mountain weather can shift faster than anywhere else on Earth. A few quiet minutes can turn into a storm of blinding wind and lightning. Warm air races upward along the slopes, cools suddenly, and builds clouds that erupt without warning. Climbers have watched clear blue skies collapse into swirling snow before they could retreat. This volatility exists because mountains interrupt smooth airflow, forcing the atmosphere into turbulence. Peaks act like engines of unpredictability, spawning storms that appear and vanish within hours. In the Alps, a single day can cycle through all 4 seasons. To stand on a summit under racing clouds is to witness nature changing shape in real time. Some storms never leave a single valley. In mountain regions, the terrain itself dictates how air behaves. A valley can trap warm air during the day and release it at night, setting the stage for sudden, isolated storms.
When moist air rises from the valley floor and cools, clouds can burst into rain and disappear moments later, never crossing the ridges around them. Thunder rolls between the slopes in perfect rhythm, and it can rain on one side of a river while the other remains dry. Locals learn the subtle signs: the shape of a growing cloud, the sharp scent of ozone, the stillness before the first drop. These miniature weather systems belong entirely to their mountains, private conversations between air and stone that rise and fade unnoticed by the world beyond. Entire cities depend on snow stored in mountains. Winter snowpacks are enormous natural reservoirs that melt slowly each spring, feeding rivers that sustain millions of people. Los Angeles relies on the Sierra Nevada, and much of South Asia depends on Himalayan meltwater for drinking, farming, and electricity. This system is delicate. Too little snow brings drought. Too much snow causes floods. Scientists track snowpack closely, knowing that even a small shift in temperature can change the fate of entire regions. Each snowflake is a promise written in winter, a contract between mountains and the valleys below. When it melts, that promise becomes rivers, turning frozen silence into life. When mountains lose their snow, rivers downstream begin to vanish. As global temperatures rise, glaciers and snowfields are shrinking faster than they can recover. These frozen reservoirs once released water steadily through the warm seasons, long after rain had stopped. Now, many rivers in the Andes and Himalayas are running dry earlier each year. Communities that had depended on meltwater for centuries are feeling the loss. Ecosystems, wetlands, and farms are shifting under the strain. The disappearance of mountain snow is a quiet crisis. A reservoir at the top of the world is fading in real time, and once it is gone, it may take thousands of years to return. Mountains remember their water even when the valleys below begin to forget. Some mountain valleys act like amplifiers for sound. In certain high basins, sound behaves almost like light reflecting in a mirror. Steep rock walls and curved terrain bounce and focus sound waves, amplifying even soft noises. A crack of ice, a shout, or a single thunderclap can echo again and again across the valley before fading away. Some places produce eerie, lingering reverberations that seem to come from nowhere. Others distort sound so that it feels closer or further than it truly is. Ancient cultures believed these echoes were the voices of spirits or gods answering from the cliffs. Today, we know it is the acoustics of stone, perfectly shaped to trap vibration. Yet hearing your own voice return from the mountains still feels less like physics and more like a quiet dialogue with the land. In rare mountain basins, echoes can last nearly a full minute. Geological formations in places like Norway's fjords, Iceland's volcanic calderas, and high Himalayan valleys create perfect chambers for sound to linger, repeating again and again before fading into silence.
The echo in certain mountain basins feels almost alive, repeating and reshaping itself as the air shifts. Early travelers wrote of peaks that seemed to speak back, their voices carried across frozen lakes and magnified by towering cliffs. Even today, the effect feels otherworldly. Sound becomes something physical, drifting through the air like mist. These long echoes reveal how mountains hold and release energy, how stone and atmosphere hum together in resonance. When the last vibration fades, the silence that follows feels deeper, as if the landscape itself has taken a long breath. Mountains remind us that even a single sound can outlive its source among their vast, echoing walls. At high altitudes, thin air lets light scatter in spectacular ways. With fewer particles to diffuse sunlight, the sky deepens into a rich, intense blue. At sunrise and sunset, colors stretch across the horizon in glowing bands of gold, crimson, and violet. Dust and ice suspended in the upper atmosphere can bend light into halos, arcs, and rare flashes of green or purple. At night, stars shine sharper and brighter, their colors more vivid without the haze of the lower atmosphere. Shadows grow crisp, distances look surreal, and the world appears polished by altitude. Climbers and photographers often describe the light as almost otherworldly. It is the same sun we know, yet at these heights, stripped of interference, its clarity feels raw and infinite. The mountains reveal light in its purest form. Mountains are among the best places on Earth to witness the night sky. Far from cities, in air that is thin, dry, and silent, the cosmos unfolds with breathtaking clarity. From a mountain summit, the Milky Way stretches from horizon to horizon like a river of pale fire. Nebulae glow faintly where light pollution never reaches. This is why astronomers build observatories on high peaks. The atmosphere is calmer, the stars steadier, and the view of the universe clearer. On Mauna Kea in Hawaii or La Silla in Chile, telescopes stare deep into space through air untouched by moisture or dust. Standing outside at these heights feels like floating between Earth and the cosmos, surrounded by silence and starlight. The mountains bring the universe close enough to feel, as if the stars themselves were leaning in to listen. Long before modern science, ancient astronomers climbed mountains to study the sky. Before telescopes existed, high ground served as natural observatories. In Babylon, priests ascended ziggurats modeled after sacred hills to track the motions of the stars. In the Andes, the Inca aligned temples with solstices and used mountain ridges as celestial markers. Greek astronomers climbed Mount Helicon and Mount Ida to watch the heavens without haze. In ancient China, emperors built stone platforms on high ground to follow comets and eclipses. These early sky watchers knew that altitude brought clarity, that every step upward carried them closer to the rhythms of the heavens. From their vantage points, they charted constellations, predicted seasons, and spun myths from the patterns of light. Mountains became both temples and telescopes, places where curiosity and wonder met the sky. Today, some of the world's most powerful observatories stand high above the clouds. Modern science continues the ancient tradition of seeking the stars from the heights. The European Southern Observatory in the Atacama Desert, the Keck Observatory on Hawaii's Mauna Kea, and the Indian Astronomical Observatory in Ladakh all operate at extreme altitudes, where the air is thin and dry. From these summits, telescopes capture light from galaxies billions of years old. Astronomers live and work in thin air, surrounded by silence and stars. On certain nights, the sky is so clear that the Milky Way casts faint shadows on the ground. These observatories are humanity's highest reach for understanding, built where the sky begins. The same mountains that once held myths of gods now hold instruments that reveal the universe's true scale. Stone and starlight share the same horizon. And beyond Earth, mountains grow even more extraordinary. Compared to the giants of other worlds, our peaks seem modest. On Mars rises Olympus Mons, a shield volcano nearly 3 times taller than Mount Everest. Its base is so vast that it could cover the entire state of Arizona. With lower gravity and no tectonic plates to pull the crust downward, the volcano grew for millions of years, its slopes stretching for hundreds of miles. Other worlds boast mountains even taller relative to their size. On the asteroid Vesta, a peak named Rhea Silvia towers across a world barely 300 miles wide, dwarfing the landscape around it.
In the thin atmosphere of Mars, Olympus Mons throws a shadow so vast it slips beyond the planet's curve. These alien giants remind us that the forces shaping landscapes are the same everywhere, carving beauty from fire and stone on any world brave enough to rise from the dust. Take Mercury, for example. The smallest planet in our solar system hides mountains unlike anything on Earth. Its battered surface is lined with ridges and cliffs made from metal-rich rock, heavy with iron and silicates.
As Mercury's interior cooled long ago, the entire planet shrank, wrinkling its crust like a drying fruit. Some of these lobate scarps climb more than a mile high and run for hundreds of miles. Denser and harder than Earth's crust, these metallic ridges catch sunlight like polished steel. Scientists believe these frozen folds mark Mercury's slow contraction as heat seeped away from its molten core. Standing on one would mean watching sunlight glint off rock that once flowed like liquid metal, a final shimmer from a world cooling into silence beneath a blazing sky. Far beyond the warmth of the inner planets, Pluto tells a different story. Here, ice mountains don't just stand still, they drift. At the edge of the solar system, where the sun is little more than a bright star, Pluto wears a crown of towering peaks made of solid water ice. This ice is so cold and rigid, it behaves like granite, yet it floats on a vast bed of softer nitrogen ice that moves like thick syrup. Over centuries, entire mountain ranges glide slowly across the landscape. Some peaks reach heights rivaling the Rockies, shimmering under faint sunlight. When NASA's New Horizons spacecraft flew past Pluto, it captured these silent giants drifting across the bright plain of Sputnik Planetitia. Mountains without roots, sailing on a frozen sea, reminding us that even in the universe's coldest shadows, motion and transformation never stop. Closer to home but shrouded in mystery, Venus hides volcanic monsters beneath its dense yellow clouds. These volcanoes dwarf most of Earth's, with Mont Mons rising nearly 5 miles high and spreading hundreds of miles across. Vast lava plains blend into shield volcanoes so wide they overlap, covering 4/5 of the planet's surface. Since Venus lacks plate tectonics, its crust swells and sinks under immense plumes of rising magma. Some volcanoes may still be active, reshaping the surface with bursts of heat and gas. Recent radar images hint at changes in their outlines, suggesting eruptions may still occur. Standing there would mean facing an atmosphere hot enough to melt steel, surrounded by mountains born in fire on a world where the ground itself seems alive. Then there's Mars, home to cliffs that make Earth's tallest peaks look tiny. Stretching along its equator lies Valles Marineris, a canyon system so massive it defies imagination. It spans over 2,000 miles and plunges more than 6 miles deep, far deeper than Mount Everest's height, even stacked 3 times. Scientists believe it formed when the Martian crust cracked under the immense swelling of nearby Tharsis volcanoes. Over ages, landslides and ancient floods carved the fractures into a maze of cliffs and valleys. From its edge, you'd see cliffs fading into red haze and shadows stretching across a horizon that curves with the planet. Valles Marineris isn't just a canyon, it's a planetary scar large enough to swallow the entire United States. And not all mountains rise from worlds. Some drift through the cosmos alone. Many asteroids like Bennu and Ryugu are roughly 1/3 of a mile tall, shaped by countless micro-impacts over billions of years. With almost no gravity, they form jagged, uneven peaks that look like mountains spinning in the void. Spacecraft have found boulders perched on slopes where even the slightest push could send them floating away. Some asteroids spin so quickly that loose material drifts outward, forming thin rings of dust. Landing on one is like standing on a mountaintop without a horizon, where the stars never shift and the concepts of up and down simply disappear. These drifting fragments are reminders that mountains aren't confined to planets. They're scattered throughout space, pieces of ancient worlds suspended between light and silence. Scientists study these mountains, wherever they appear, to understand how planets live and evolve. Every peak carries a record of pressure, heat, and time. By tracing how mountains rise and erode, researchers uncover the hidden mechanics of planetary interiors, the thickening of crusts, and the rhythms of atmospheres. On Earth, mountain studies reveal the dance of plate tectonics,
while comparisons with Mars and Venus show what happens when those processes slow or end.
Where you can direct a voice, create realistic dialogue, and so much more. Edit these placeholders to get started.
Even the frozen ridges of distant moons like Europa and Enceladus hold secrets about how water and rock behave under alien conditions. These icy spines are natural laboratories performing experiments in physics and chemistry on scales no human could ever recreate. Every ridge, fold, and fracture records a story of balance and change, shaped by the same cosmic forces that mold every world drifting through the darkness of space. High in Earth's own mountains, the extremes push life to its absolute limits. As elevation rises, the air thins, temperatures plunge, and sunlight strikes with raw, unfiltered intensity. Yet life still clings on. Scientists studying climbers, yaks, and microorganisms living on glaciers have uncovered astonishing adaptations. Human blood chemistry shifts to draw in more oxygen. Certain plants tweak their metabolism to resist the cold, and tiny microbes survive on bare rock, feeding on minerals and dim light alone. These hardy survivors hinted how life might persist on planets with thin atmospheres or frozen landscapes. Every journey upward becomes a study in resilience, a quiet revelation of evolution's creativity in the face of harshness. In that thin air, surrounded by stone and silence, life proves again and again that it will always find a way, even where the world seems to end. Long before satellites and aircraft brought the sky within scientific reach, mountaineers were the first to explore the upper world. Their climbs led them into places no researcher had ever touched, and their discoveries often reshaped entire fields of study. They found new species of plants and insects, uncovered rare minerals, and even collected meteorites trapped in ancient ice. On Everest, climbers gathered air samples that revealed the chemistry of the upper atmosphere. Expeditions in the Andes and Karakoram unearthed fossils that rewrote the timeline of geological history. Even today, mountaineers help track glacier retreat, rock stability, and shifting weather patterns, blending adventure with scientific insight. Many mountains are still so remote that only those willing to climb them can study them. Every ascent becomes a partnership between human determination and scientific curiosity, expanding not only horizons, but the very boundaries of knowledge. And while they may look eternal, every mountain on Earth is slowly changing shape. To most of us, mountains appear frozen in time, but in reality, they never stop moving. Wind smooths their ridges, rain eats away at their valleys, and earthquakes tilt their slopes. Even sunlight and ice cause daily cycles of expansion and contraction. Some peaks rise as the crust compresses, while others sink as erosion carries their mass away. Satellites reveal just how restless these giants truly are. Each day, the Himalayas lift by a fraction of an inch, the Alps erode by the width of a grain of sand, and volcanoes swell or slump in subtle rhythms. Although these changes are invisible across a single lifetime, they never cease. Mountains are sculpted continuously, shaped again and again by pressures deep within the earth and forces blowing across its surface. They are slow-motion masterpieces, landscapes being rewritten one quiet heartbeat at a time. And even the oldest ranges on Earth are still evolving. The worn slopes of the Appalachians and the ancient mountains of South Africa may look peaceful, yet deep below, the mantle continues to stir. In some regions, rising heat slowly lifts entire plateaus, while in others, cooling crust pulls land downward in gentle subsidence. Wind and water carve away at exposed peaks, carrying dust from mountaintops into valleys and oceans. The tug of uplift and the pull of erosion never truly end. Over millions of years, entire ranges have risen, disappeared, and returned in new forms. A mountain that seems timeless is just one moment in Earth's long, breathing cycle, a reminder that the ground beneath us is never still. And some mountains vanish almost as quickly as they appear. In regions of intense volcanic or tectonic activity, peaks can rise, crumble, and disappear within a single human lifetime. The island of Surtsey off Iceland erupted from the sea in 1963 and immediately began eroding under waves and storms. Elsewhere, new mountains form along ocean ridges or inside desert craters built from soft ash or lava that quickly falls apart under wind and rain. Some volcanic cones collapse only years after their birth, leaving behind circular lakes or quiet valleys of ash. Their short lives are a vivid reminder that Earth's surface is in constant motion. Not all mountains are monuments to eternity. Some flare into existence briefly and fade just as fast. Each vanished peak becomes part of the planet's ongoing memory of creation, destruction, and renewal.